The most important thing that you need to know whenever you are doing angle relationships and you're working with parallel lines cut by a transversal line is you need to know your vocabulary. Because if you don't know the vocabulary, it's going to be impossible for you to do the work. So the first thing you need to know, these two lines right here that run side by side, these are your parallel lines. The line that cuts across it, this is called the transversal. Now, it does not have to be at this angle. It can also cut across this way. But for this example, I just did the transversal line like this. So whenever we've got our parallel lines and we've got our transversal line, we have different relationships that this creates. So the first thing we're going to look at is we're going to look at corresponding angles. And we're going to color code this red. The corresponding angles are going to be equal to each other. So if one of them is 50, the other is 50. If one is 128, the other one's 128. These are always going to be on the same side of the transversal line. One will be exterior to the parallel lines. One will be interior to the parallel lines. So we just had a couple more important vocabulary words come up there. So whenever we have the transversal line, one thing that's important is, are they on the same side or are they on alternate sides? And I'm going to show you some examples of that as well. Let me kind of make this a little bit more even. And then we're also going to be looking at, well, is it on the inside of the parallel lines, which we call the interior, or will it be on the outside of the parallel lines, which we call the exterior? Okay. So next, we're going to look at alternate interior. So if you know what alternate means, which means it's going to be on both sides, right? So we know it's going to be on one side of the transversal line and on the other side of the transversal line. So the next keyword here is interior. Interior tells you that it's going to be inside. It's interior to the parallel lines. So if I'm doing alternate interior, I'm going to have one right here. Now alternate means the other side, so the other one is going to be right here. So these two lines, or these two angles are alternate interiors. These two are alternate interior. Okay? And alternate interior angles are going to be equal to each other. And another way that you can tell that they're equal, do they look the same? So this is acute, this is acute. Oh, I forgot to color code this blue. Okay, so next we're going to look at same side interior. These two are going to add together to equal 180. So my first keyword that I have there is same side. So we know they're going to be on the same side. It's in the title, right? So I'm just going to randomly pick this side. I could have done this side or this side, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to do this. And I'm talking about the same side of the transversal line. So if this is my transversal, the same side, if it's here, it's going to be here. Now the other keyword that I'm going to remember is the word interior. Interior means inside. So if I do this one here, then I'm also going to do this one here. So if I were to add these two together, they're going to equal 180. Whenever you're doing these relationships, they're always either going to be congruent or 180. So if you look at them and they don't look the same, they're not congruent. So then that means they've got to equal 180. It's not just, if you can just keep that rule in mind, you're going to be just fine. So next, we're going to look at same side exterior. So again, we're looking at that rule with the transversals. So if I've got my same side exterior, I'm going to be on the same side of the transversal line. I'm going to stay over here just for the sake of argument. And I have that it's exterior, so it's going to be on the outside of the parallel lines. So I'm going to have here and then here. So you can see same side and they're exterior. Now if I wanted to, I could have colored it over here. These would be on the same side and they're on the outside of the parallel line. It really doesn't matter which one you choose. Okay, so next we're going to look at vertical angles. These are going to be congruent. That means they're going to equal each other. So let's say, oh, and for vertical angles, the rule is they're always back to back. So the pointy ends are touching, is how I always describe it. So if I want to look at a vertical angle, let's say, for example, I use this one and this one. So it's okay for an angle to be more than one thing. So these two would be vertical to each other. These two right here are vertical to each other. These two are vertical, and these two are vertical. And you can tell because the points are touching. Okay? And then the last one that we're going to be using are alternate exterior. And these are going to be equal. They're congruent. So again, the key word here is alternate, meaning they're going to be on opposite sides of the transverse line, and exterior tells me they're going to be outside. So if I'm looking for alternate exterior, let's just do this one. So if I'm on this side of the transversal line, so if I'm on this side, that means I've got to go to this side. And I'm going exterior, so that means I'm going to be down here.